Welcome back to Superherocuts. It's your boy, Jerry. It's your boy, Stevie. Tonight, we got a great docket for you. Before we get into that, I just want to remind you, please don't forget to hit the like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps the channel grow. So we appreciate you, especially those who join us every week and are in the chat. Okay, so for tonight, what we will be getting into is what is going on with Reed Richards, the TVA, and Kang. Superman's movie structure change explained. Is Thor 5 a good decision post Secret Wars? Sadie Sink is Gwen Stacy now. And what the DCU Fortnite collab means. The rumored Avengers team for Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday. What Matt Shackman meant when he said that Fantastic Four First Steps is inspired by Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And then we're going to get into what kind of leader Star Wars needs. And spoiler alert, is definitely not Mark Hamill.
That was a nice touch. That
was an ad lib because
that was funny.
To give you guys a little background, Stevie mainly puts the docket together. He puts in a lot of work, so you can always thank him for that. I really just, once in a while might have a note or say we should move this or that, but it's really all Stevie doing. So shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you,
bro. Shout out to you, bro, because you're the one that is always innovating. So
yeah.
And look, and the number one rule, guys, if you ever want to partner with someone in content, you always have to have someone that is always researching and innovating, and you always have to have someone that can try their best to make it happen. And that's why him and I work so great together, because he has all the ideas, and then I help try to bring it to life.
When I first started giving Stevie ideas, I was worried because in a creative space, you always got to worry how someone's going to take it. And when I talk to Stevie, it doesn't even feel like people are like, oh, well, it's constructive. It doesn't even feel like constructive criticism. It just feels like we're on a team and we're working towards the same goal together.
Exactly. No ego in the room. I mean, but you're like my brother, so it's different. It's different. Yeah. Like if it was a random Joe Schmo, I'm like, man, who is you? But like we've been through this. I mean, almost 3 years now, so it's like it's different, bro. You are family at this point, bro.
Yes, and we hope you like the border on the thumbnail because that was
a
new thing that we're trying. So
facts.
So anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so there was a tweet that went kind of viral from Josh from Den of Nerds. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He's one of the bigger guys in the space. Shout out to Josh. But anyway, he had a tweet, which, do we have the screenshot? Can we pull up the tweet? Okay, so basically, now this isn't the exact tweet, I don't think, but the point is that the television that Mobius is looking at in the Loki frame appears to be the same television that is in the frame for Fantastic Four First Steps. And it could be a connection. It could not be. But what was interesting about this is that everyone kind of went crazy and was like, oh, well, you don't know that Kang is related to Reed. And it's such a stupid comment because Kang and Reed aren't exactly related. They're not exactly not. It's kind of a gray area. And Marvel has never really outright confirmed it. So for those of you that don't know, Kang the Conqueror, who was supposed to be the big bad for this multiversal saga and the controversy with Jonathan Majors, was the reason that Marvel gave us whatever. He's obviously not the big bad anymore. But his first appearance goes back to Avengers issue number 8 in 1964. He also has many aliases and personas: Rama Tut, Immortus, Scarlet Centurion, Iron Lad, and Victor Timely, who you probably remember from Loki season 2. And he really is a time-traveling conqueror, strategist, and he uses time manipulatively and very complexly, almost as like a strategic weapon. And his connection to Reed Richards is it's kind of touched on that he is a descendant of Reed Richards, and a lot of stories confirm this, and some suggest that he has also descended from Doctor Doom. So my theory is that Marvel likes to keep it ambiguous because it's easier. They don't want to tie the continuity, because if they do, it changes a lot of story that they've already told. It's not an easy retcon. It also changes the nature and the implications of anything they could do in the future. So I think it's easier for them to kind of nod to it and not outright confirm it. But a lot of stories kind of confirm that he is a descendant of Reed Richards in some way, and they do share the same last name of Richards, Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards. But in Avengers Forever from the late 90s by Kurt Busiek, that's when they identified Kang as a descendant of Reed. And in Fantastic Four Volume 3, number 16, Kang directly tells Reed that he is his ancestor. Kang, was born in the 31st century in the future as Nathaniel Richards, and discovers time travel to use technology to and basically a lot of theories are that he, I think, I don't know if Marvel touched on it or it's theory, but he basically created Reed's father, and he goes back in time to become Rama Tut, and then later evolves into Kang the Conqueror. And Kang references Reed and Doom as part of his ancestry, and even young Kang, known as Iron Lad, which is another one of his personas, founds the Young Avengers to prevent his future. And in more recent comics that they were putting out, which is interesting because when they first started teasing Kang for the MCU, they put out a couple of Kang comics. One was called Timeless, one was called Kang the Conqueror. Both were great. I highly recommend reading both of them. And let me see something. I just want to make sure okay, there we go. So anyway, yeah. So it's a little more ambiguous, but they do have some connection in some way. And Kang and Reed are both intellectuals, and Kang is similar to Doctor Doom in a lot of ways, because Doctor Doom, you have to keep in mind, is a strategist. And I always think what they were going to do was they were going to have Doctor Doom come in, kill Kang, and then Doctor Doom is going to be established as this big threat because he just defeated Kang. And what better way to be a step up from Kang and establish yourself as a major threat than defeat the first big bad that we've really had since Thanos. So that was kind of my theory. Maybe they're going to touch on this, maybe not. I don't think the television thing is that big of a deal. I think maybe they put it in there so we get talk about it like this. I think they'll probably, nip the Kang storyline in the butt, and they'll explain what happened to Kang and why Kang isn't part of the MCU anymore. I think they kind of have to tie up that loose end. I'm not saying it's going to happen in Fantastic Four or not, but I would expect that it's going to happen before Avengers Doomsday. And if it's going to happen before Avengers Doomsday, I think it makes more sense for that to happen in Fantastic Four than it would in Spider-Man. But anyway, I hope that gave you a good background on Kang, the Nathaniel Richards connection to Reed Richards. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. Obviously, I will answer all your questions on this topic. It's very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of you don't want to go back and read the comics. And as you know, I love to do the homework for you. But throw it back to Stevie. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, it is very, very interesting, and I just that the thought of the TVA and the same color just never crossed my mind in the trailers whatsoever. I actually didn't even remember this part. I only remember when he's sitting at his desk when he said something like there was no time left or something, or he said we're out of time, and he had on like a blue tie. But this scene really didn't. I really forgot the scene until I went back and rewatched some of the teasers and stuff. I mean, this could be a lot of things. I mean, could the TVA have been, could they have ripped his tech from another Earth and could they use it? Yes, that could possibly be a thing. Could Reed be working with the TVA as we speak? Yes, could also possibly be a thing. could Reed know everything that has happened about Loki, kind of holding all of the timelines together, and maybe Reed's trying to find a solution to solve all this, and maybe that's the link of I reached the boundaries of space and the hurt. I don't know. I mean, it could be connected to a slew of things, man. So I mean, I think it would be cool if they link it to the TVA, but it's not something that I'm like simping over right now. You know, I am more interested in what does Reed know about the incursions? Because there was something that dropped in. I want to read this here, because so they said. So, in an interview for Collider, and I'm pretty sure this is Matt Shackman. I'll have to check the article, but they said the Fantastic Four first steps will explore how different universes and worlds connect and come together, and that just screams to me incursion. So, I think that Reed is going to be dealing with a lot of. I think there's a lot of things that Reed is going to be dealing with, and I think that Galactus is just one of the many things that we're going to see him tackle, which makes me really excited because Reed is the smartest character that we have. So I'm hyped to see it.
By the way, Mac, I'm going to answer your question real quick. So Avengers Forever, obviously you're talking about the original. There was another one recently that was kind of the finale ending to Jason Aaron's run, but the original one, which was from I think 98 or 99, and it was by Kurt Busiek, and it was the finale to his long tenure on the Avengers title comic run. But I didn't really like Avengers Forever. I also hate Kurt Busiek's writing. I cannot stand his writing. It's so hard to enjoy and get through that I didn't enjoy Avengers Forever. And I hate that because I hate that Kurt Busiek was on the run for so long. It really sucks when one of your favorite characters, your favorite books, has a writer that has such a long tenure and you can't stand their writing. It sucks because it takes up a lot of the timeline and, you just can't engage with it in the way you would want to. But it's a cool Kang story. Like the structure of the story is cool and all that. It's very complex. Like if you are just getting into comics and you're new to comics, I would not read a story like that. I would recommend sticking with things that are more modern and are more innovative in the writing because it's going to be easier for you to enjoy and engage that. It took me a long time of reading comics before I was able to enjoy older writing comics. And obviously 1998, comics could get much older than that, but the way Kurt Busiek writes, it's so exposition heavy and just corny and like and I feel like he's just a jerk online too, but I'm usually able to separate that, but whatever. It's harder when you really don't like the guy's writing, but whatever. Yeah. So I think here's the thing, back to Galactus and the incursions. What I want to find out is how are they going to connect Galactus and the Galactus obstacle dilemma that's going to happen with incursions, because the incursions are two Earths colliding and either both of them die or one survives. Galactus eats planets, so I don't know, maybe they're like, hey Galactus, why don't you eat that planet? That
would be funny. I would laugh out loud if they said that. That would be awesome.
Be wild. I mean, that's like the only thing I could put together. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I'm not a writer for Marvel, so I hope they could get more creative than I could.
That would be hilarious. Like, yo, can you eat that Earth for me, bro?
Yeah.
You're like, they're colliding into ours. Go ahead and take care of that.
They put some Galactus bait on the planet. Well, Galactus likes Earth with a lot of this, so we're going to put whatever that is on that. Yeah, but I think they got to touch on the incursions. So one thing I really hope they do, I really hope they never mention the what's it called? The anchor being. I hope they never talk about it again. Bro, I remember the first time we found out about it, and I said from day one that was a terrible idea. It's a stupid concept. And the reason I think it's so stupid is because it makes no sense. I mean, like, first of all, an anchor being could die from like natural. What if the anchor being gets canceled? Or, what if the anchor being isn't an Avenger? Why can't the anchor being be someone like Steve Jobs or Donald Trump or Barack Obama? I'm sure the anchor being is always going to be someone like
Yeah.
Wolverine or Captain
Bob,
America. It's
Bob
never gonna be
from the gas station.
yeah. What about exactly the guy that fills up my gas? Like, why can't it be him? So it's just a stupid concept, and it's short sighted. Like when you think about a concept like that, you have to think about its implications down the line and how it's going to work in practice. And when the second you think about anchor beings in its effect, in its practice, it just sounds like a stupid movie.
And then the reasoning would also seem stupid, at least to me. Like they'll come up with some corny reason, like, you know what I mean? Like, because I mean, and you already know it isn't the most powerful being on Earth. Because like Wolverine was supposed to be an anchor being. It's like, nah, it's so corny,
Right,
bro.
right.
It's so corny how that works. But yeah, so nah, yeah, just ignore the whole anchor being thing and my guess is like. So then, like, would you say the Fantastic Four are four anchor beings on one Earth? Like, is that how it's going to work? Like, just drop that, just drop the
Yeah.
whole entire idea.
Totally.
Yeah. But this Fantastic Four movie is going to be crazy because there's a lot of things that have just been said. I mean, with Doom possibly showing up and about a whole secret plot that's kind of going on within this file that we haven't heard about. See, that's what gets me excited about seeing this file because it like the movie just screams at that there's something going on that we just don't know in this file yet, and it gets me hype, bro. It gets me hype.
It's also coming out at the perfect time because the Fantastic Four they've had such a rocky history in our lifetime. The Fantastic Four had a period where their comics weren't selling so well, and a lot of people like to revise history, but with Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, as great as it is and as highly as it's regarded right now, when those books were releasing, book store owners will tell you that people didn't like it at first. And when you think about that, it kind of makes sense, right? It's such an innovative concept. It's such a brilliant book. A lot of great art that is so advanced and innovative isn't always appreciated right away. And he was probably a bit ahead of his time when that book originally came out. And I'm sure once the trades, the collections and omnibuses came out, once people were able to just binge through it and not read it on a monthly release, I'm sure it connected more with them because it's easier to follow a story like that when you're reading it consistently rather than once a month. But anyway, Fantastic Four didn't always sell so well. And when Marvel did their Marvel Now initiative, they didn't really include Fantastic Four, and they stopped printing Fantastic Four and making Fantastic Four comics. And that's not that far ago. This was like 2015 around the time of Secret Wars. And then Marvel released Marvel's 2-in-1 by Chip Zdarsky with the Human Torch and the Thing, and that was great. And then Dan Slott brought Fantastic Four back, which, there's a lot of mixed opinions on that comic run. But now Ryan North is on the comic book, and a lot of people will tell you they think it's the best ongoing title at Marvel right now, and it's not even close. I don't know if I would go that far, but it's definitely up there. It is amazing. And around the time where people are engaging and going back and reading Fantastic Four stuff from the 60s, the 80s, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, John Byrne, Walt Simonson, they have the movie that's finally coming out, and people are going crazy over it. And it's also really interesting because both Marvel and DC have a lot on the line for their movies that they're releasing in July. The DCU is going to ride on the success of Superman. But Marvel put themselves in a weak position where the excitement and hype for Avengers Doomsday and laying down the groundwork, a lot of it is being laid to Fantastic Four. So it's really cool to see that Fantastic Four are kind of back in the limelight and they're like return to this glorious, position in modern comic books and comic book movie hype. And I think this movie is going to be amazing. And I really think that it's going to put Fantastic Four in a position that they've never been in before, because they've never had a successful movie. And it would be amazing for this movie to come out. Everyone absolutely love it. It do well in the box office at a time that Fantastic Four comics are on fire. So I love to see it. Obviously, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. And yeah, I think it's really special.
So two things or three things. Number one, this is why like the marketing has been so great with the F4, and you can tell that Feige's like they're really trying to push this movie down our throats like right now. Now next question I have for you is, after Hickman, who is your second favorite Fantastic Four writer of all time?
It's a really tough question. I would probably say if it's tough because I really like Chip Zdarsky's 2-in-1. I think that it doesn't get enough love just because a lot of people don't even know it exists. It's like it's not called Fantastic Four. For those of you that don't know, 2-in-1, after Secret Wars, Reed and Sue don't come back to Earth. So Johnny, the Human Torch, and Ben, the Thing, travel the multiverse looking for Reed and Sue. Dr. Doom even helps them, and he makes fun of them the whole time. It's amazing. But I would probably say Mark Waid. I think Mark Waid is like, if I were to introduce someone to the Fantastic Four and they didn't know anything about them, I wouldn't tell them to read Jonathan Hickman. I would tell them to read Mark Waid. I think Mark Waid's run is the definitive Fantastic Four comic for the modern day. Yes, Hickman is my favorite, but Mark Waid's run on Fantastic Four is like a modern style writing that captures the essence and the glory and the love of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The art is like animated in the way that you would expect. The characters, the dialogue, the multi-issue story arcs that build on each other. I mean, it was just incredible. So if you want to get into the Fantastic Four and you kind of read comics or you don't read comics at all, the Mark Waid run is the one to go with. You're going to want more Fantastic Four after that because that run is amazing. Then I would do Hickman. But Mark Waid is like the modern version of the Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. And, you kind of have to give it to him. That's
good stuff, bro. That's good stuff, bro. And then the third thing, which I totally forgot because I just started reminiscing on Wade's comics for a second. Because it was just a fun read. But now I forget my third thing. Never mind. But all in all, I'm just so excited for this movie, bro. Like it's just, I'm really hyped for Superman, but F4 is just it just gets me way more excited, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, that's what I want to say. Another thing that I heard. I was watching like somebody talk about kind of movies, but from a film business, from a file business side, and they were saying that
was amazing. That was a god tier text you sent me.
Oh yeah. I knew you like that. But so they were talking about kind of movies from a financial standpoint, and they were saying that a lot of so Zelda got moved back because, and this insider or business person, they're saying that the reason why they're going to push back the Zelda file is just because movies just aren't doing good in box office, and basically what is happening in the movie business is that because AI is developing so quickly, a lot of studios want to hold back and wait and kind of see where AI goes. And the next few months so they can adjust the way that they can, and and use AI and some of these tools just to make their movie, make it seamless. And a lot of people, with this business person, saying that like AI is going to make budgets for movies a lot cheaper. And this economy, a lot of people are probably going to be jumping on that. Now, the thing that they were talking about though is that they said that and this is their thought, so I'm not taking this as fact, but they do believe that Doomsday is going to be the movie that could possibly um, make fans want to, or make movie watchers want to go back and watch movies at the theater again. And the math that they were doing was when the MCU was in its peak during Civil War, that run from Civil War all the way to Endgame, every like it wasn't just MCU files that were popping a billion. Like they were arguing that Aquaman popped a billion, and they don't think that the DCEU was the reason why, but it was because of just MCU files were so good, and everybody was going, that just like the MCU pushed the superhero genre just farther. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, which is hated by
Kind of like
millions
the
of
Dark
people.
Knight did for the
Yeah,
MCU.
yeah, yes, bro. Yeah. Yeah, and even the Rise of a Skywalker did $1 billion, right? And so could you see why someone would make that point of like maybe saying that like the MCU's success helps movies in general, or do you think
Yes,
that's a reach?
because I think that when people go to the movie theater and they have a good time, they're more likely going to want to go back. If you go to the movie theater and you spend money on a ticket, maybe even buy soda and popcorn, and then you watch a movie and you went out of your way, you went out of your house, and you don't like the movie, you wasted your time, you wasted your night, you wasted your money. Why are you going to want to go back? Like, you know, but if it's a movie you really want to see and you go and you enjoy it, you have a memorable experience that you may want to have that kind of fun again, and you're more likely to go see a movie. It's easy, like they always say, it's always easy to upsell or resell an existing customer than it is to acquire a new customer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same kind of thing. If someone's coming to the movies and they like it, they're probably going to come back. If they're coming to the movies and they don't like it, they're not going to come back. A lot of that lies on the quality of the movie. I also think that as time goes on, people are buying better TVs, people are buying better sound systems, people are streaming at home, and a lot of people are just content staying at home. I know for me, if you gave me the option to watch Fantastic Four in the movie theater or at my house, I would choose at my house.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times. I really would. I have a great system here. I don't want to go out of my way to go to the Dolby Cinema, which is the only one I want to go to. It's a bit of a drive. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and so, and I don't think I'm alone with that. And maybe I'm a little bit weird in that way. I don't know. But I'll tell you, I don't think that, like, I think we are people that really love movies. For people that don't really love movies and they want to see a movie and they don't really care as much as we do, and I don't really want to go to the theater. What do you think about someone who doesn't really care about movies? Of course, they're not going to want to go. So I think that I also think a lot of it has to do with streaming. I think streaming puts out so much content, and people are watching things more at home. And right now, I think streaming and cable TV is like at a dead even percentage of households. And last year I think like cable had like a 10% lead on streaming, and just in the past year it's evened out. And each year as we go, that streaming number is going to become larger and larger and larger. So I think the market share that streaming is taken is not just a business model and a consumer model, but I think it's changing people's preferences and the type of content they watch and how they watch it.
It's a great take, bro. It's a great take.
Thank you.
if the new Fantastic Four fails, the memes are going to be crazy because of it being the fourth failed F4 movie. Marvel can afford that. Yeah,
The
those memes will
Fantastic
be
Four
legendary.
flops.
Yeah, right. Oh my
Fantastic
gosh,
flops.
that would be legendary. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Same with if Superman flops too, bro. The memes are going to go insane. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the
And
Snyder cult will never shut up about it.
and I promise you, the first thing that people are going to throw shots at is the trunks. I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know, I
Yeah.
saw they have the McFarlane Superman action figures at Target. I saw it today.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I might have to go pick one up. That sounds fire.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, bet, bro. Thanks. Yeah, Aquaman only made that bill because of the MCU. No one can convince, bro. Literally, there's no there's no movie that even correlates to why that movie did so good. And by the way, I enjoyed Aquaman. I thought that movie was great, but the fact that it grossed $1 billion, and this is how you know, like Warner Bros. Were just intellectual inferiors. They waited so long to put out the second movie to their $1 billion file. Crazy.
Yeah, that was so dumb. That was so dumb.
Crazy. They should have put one out like in the next 2 years at least, bro. They're so stupid. Yeah. Okay. Now let's get to the next thing here about this Superman structure change. Okay, so Superman's 1 second, guys. There we go. So Superman initially had a episodic structure, breaking the story up by days, and now it has reportedly been turned into a continuous single narrative in the final edit. That's by Daniel RPK. So this was something that came out months ago that that the Superman file was going to do like this episodic type of structure, and some people cared, some people didn't. Like I didn't really care. But now apparently that has changed. Yeah, huh? Yeah, like it's crazy. And so James Gunn said last week, I'm pretty sure he said last week that Superman's done or whatever. And so this is what's come out. So how do you feel about this?
If this file has an episodic structure, it would kill the movie for me. Like absolutely kill it. I hate episodic. I don't like episodic anything. I kind of made an exception for the Ryan North Fantastic Four, which is going to shift to a non-episodic one in July, but that's another story. I don't like I don't even want to watch Smallville because the beginning I hear is episodic, and I don't like stories where you could watch episode 3 and not even need to know what happened in episode 1 or 2, and you could enjoy episode 3 on its own. To me, stories like that are a waste of time. You know, you don't give the story. You need to give stories room for subplots and threading and momentum and building on ideas. And if you don't do that, it's just less special. It's boring and it's almost meaningless and like a throwaway. You know, one of the reasons I think like most of my favorite comic runs most of them are between like 40 and 50, maybe more issues. And I was talking about it with a guy that runs the comic shop that I go to, and he was saying basically what I just said. He was like, you know, the longer you allow a writer on a book, the more you allow them to thread ideas and build upon things and really do something special. If someone's only on a book for 6 or 12 issues, you don't even have a chance. So, you know, and they don't really get to tell the story they want to tell. So to do something like that when you have the go ahead to make your own movie, like that's just so dumb, and it makes absolutely no sense. You know, if you wanted to make, you know, an episodic Superman thing, I don't know, like you should have done one more season of Superman and Lois before you pulled Superman off of TV. It sounds stupid. I think you're muted.
Sorry. So me personally, like, I don't really care, and more so because, like the wording I didn't like of the word episodic, but my thought process is like, you know, like I just want to wait until we see the file because my thought of episodic in the movie would be where like it could have been a few, like I thought of it as a few scenes where Superman's just saving this person, that person, and what he was going to do was he was maybe this is my thought. I'm not saying this is any fact. This is my thought of it. My thought was that he was going to use these different episodic scenes to build a relationship between Superman and the people. And then when things go wrong, that's when it might shift from that episodic format to a continuous plot. So I was just like, you know what, like I'm gonna let James Gunn rock out, do what he wants. But it seems like Zaslav and the team when they watched it, they didn't like it. So it
Thank
seems like
God.
James Gunn made it seems like James Gunn made those changes. And as much as I don't care, I will say, I do think fans would have probably hated because that's just not the movie that we are used to watching. When we watch a movie, you go for a continuous story of like what's going on, whether that's the start of a file or in the center of it or in the end of a file or of a saga or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So I totally understand why fans will be mad about it, but me personally, I mean, is it I didn't care, but I could see how this could hurt a movie. And honestly, the first file you're putting out to release a universe, you do not want to be episodic format at whatsoever. That is cardinal sin number one, which makes me wonder, which shocks me that James Gunn would even do that. But you know, it is what it is. I'm glad it's changed, and I hope that I don't want to see that he took it out in the movie in the file. Like I just want to be able to say like, oh, like I didn't even pay attention to it. I want to see so
Yeah.
if that means they put deleted scenes in there to make connect, do whatever you got to do. But as a fan, I shouldn't even notice that there were changes.
Yeah. This is like, and that, by the way, that's a very specific expectation for them to do something episodic and shift. I think the thing is just a dumb idea. I think that like if James Gunn did this, I gotta say, I would question if he's the right guy for the job after something like that. I really would. I would be like, this is just so look, I would almost think like, did you do it because you thought it was like an artsy thing? But I wouldn't even understand how this is like an artsy thing. Sometimes creators get like artsy and weird, but I wouldn't see this as an artsy. Like if I was an artsy director, the last thing I would want to do is something is episodic and without giving me room, kind of what I said before, room to, let ideas disseminate and kind of grow through a 2.5 hour file versus, like an episode structure.
Yeah.
The other thing you have to keep in mind is that I think streaming has killed episodic structure in video format because when you watch, think about whatever your favorite TV series is you recently streamed, right? Whether it's Severance or, the whatever. You enjoyed that show and when you finish an episode and it's like time to go to bed because you got to get up to work in the morning, but that episode was so good and it ended on a cliffhanger, so you wanted to watch the next episode. With an episodic structure, you don't have that. So Netflix and streaming really, in a large way, I would bet killed the episodic structure. Sure, there's still like NCIS and Law and Order SVU and those kinds of shows, but I would bet that their viewership is probably taking a hit. And I think that, the way streaming has changed how people watch TV, I think the way of watching shows as an episodic structure is probably losing traction and losing viewership at this point.
Yeah.
And because it's even more so not the right move. Like I think when it was, the 1950s when, everyone had a TV with like 12 channels, you could get away with that because, Ray and Sue, who are 60 years old and they get home, they want to sit down and watch TV and they didn't watch the episode the night before. Now they could watch an episode of I Love Lucy and not have to worry about what happened on Monday night because they didn't watch Monday night and they're watching Tuesday night. But, when you go to watch a movie, everyone paid a ticket to see the beginning, middle, and end. So,
yeah. While you were just saying that, you just inspired like three thoughts. Okay. First is I just remembered this is James Gunn's first like major character file. You know what I mean? Like Guardians of the Galaxy, he made them big, with the things he did. But this is his first major character file. And what even from what James Gunn has said, I understand he's trying to honor the past, all that, and maybe the episodic format was trying to be different, do what's never been done before. But this is a healthy, and this situation actually is a healthy thing because shout out to Zaslav and the WB team for catching this and correcting it, and shout out to James Gunn for being humble enough to change his file. They let Zack Snyder do whatever he wanted, and I like that. It seems like with WB right now, there's accountability with what's going on. So I like how they are all like it seems like all hands are on deck right now with Superman. So I also like that side of it. And it does remind me of how like Bob Iger and Feige, you know what I mean, how they kind of collab and talk about what's going on with Marvel Studios, and Iger might shoot some ideas he might, what I'm saying. So healthy business practice is really going on behind the scenes. So shout out to them because I mean, as we all know, it was not healthy back in the day. So yeah, it's not too bad. All right, see some chats here. Kevin, you're back. Even if Fantastic Four First Steps is a moderate success, Kevin Feige isn't going anywhere at all, bro. Facts. Feige isn't going until the X-Men are done. That's like his baby. People will go see DC Superman at the theaters. Facts. David Zaslav trying to please the shareholders and paying down debt. Yeah, I heard that WB is in a tough spot. Feel bad for Warner Brothers. No company deserves to be a spinoff. Is he talking about the split?
Yeah.
No. Families will go see How to Train Your Dragon live action in theaters, but this isn't going to be a massive success like Lilo, Stitch, and Minecraft. I don't know, bro. Like all the kids in my youth group, they're all going to see it. Like all of them are going on Friday. So I don't know what you're talking about, Buck. At least the people around me I know are going that are kids.
So see How to Train Your Dragon?
Bro, yes, bro. I mean, and I'm saying from teenager to child, they're all going to see it
on How to Train Your Dragon, okay? Because there are people online that are offended that they're remaking this file. Okay, first of all, it's an original movie. They came up with it. They get to do what they want. Period. The end. But at the same time, like the kids that didn't grow up with the animated one now get to go to the movies to see the live action one. And you're like a grown adult and complaining about it. It just sounds so ridiculous.
And bro,
but
yeah,
I love the animated one. I thought it was great. I saw that and I was blown away. So I'm curious. I don't know if I care to watch the sequel or the other ones, but the animated one, when that came out and I saw it, I was like, wow, that was one of the best, like probably best movies ever. It was so good.
Bro, it is, bro. It's really good. And bro, and it's funny, the same thing you said about 2 years ago, I made a Harry Potter video saying the same thing. I said sometimes when it comes to remakes, the older people get too selfish. Right. Like this is for the kids because a lot of kids don't want to watch animation unless if it's Spider-Verse. Like, you know what I mean? Like live action. And also the creator of this wanted to do the live action. It was his decision to do it.
And it's funny too, because it's always the older guys that are virtue signaling, that are like, oh, you don't get to bully and this and that. And then like they have a temper tantrum when they see someone's excited for How to Train Your Dragon. Like,
yeah, exactly. And then what also drives me crazy is when people get mad when the creator makes changes. Like, so it's not like the original. Like, bro, sometimes like changes he wanted to make, he was not able to, and so he wants to try it out. Like
that's how I feel when I make an argument and my thoughts evolve, and then my arguments get used against me. Which happens to me all the time.
Yeah, bro. So on Netflix, there's a show that's like an OG called Avatar: The Last Air Bender, and they dropped a live action show, and what they did was like they added more context to what's going on. Like they really dove into the spirit world a little deeper, and a lot of fans were angry that it wasn't like the original. And I'm like, so you guys wanted to see the same scenes over and over, like you didn't want to get another perspective of like what's going on. It's like it's that simple thinking that it's like there's no there's no real like this isn't like it's Hickman's Fantastic Four or like Stan Lee's Fantastic Four. Like this is an animated show, bro. Like come on, bro. Like sometimes, man, sometimes fans can be so ridiculous with these like demands for everything to be the exact same.
So ridiculous.
It's like if you're not breaking lore, like I'm fine with it.
Me too.
As long as it's not like political stuff.
Also, no one gets mad at Marvel. Marvel made changes to Infinity War. Marvel made changes from Secret Invasion. It's like, it's only when it's How to Train Your Dragon. Like,
Facts. If you had to put money on it, what's making more money, Superman or Fantastic Four? I say Superman because of the name value of Superman.
I would say I want to say Superman too. I mean, I want to say Fantastic Four. I would love to see Fantastic Four do more. But listen, I don't really like I don't like industries that try to predict the future outside of like finance and stocks and stuff like that, because I think most of them are full of crap. And, it's like the people who try to do polls for the election or sports bets. And, but I know the windows of the projections for Superman are slightly higher. I think Fantastic Four is projected to do between like 700 and 850, and Superman's projected to do 800 to potentially 1 billion plus. And that is a pretty significant difference on where those windows overlap. And listen, I think that the projections could 100% be wrong, but that significant of a gap is, I have to say which one's going to do more. I think it's a pretty clear shot. It's going to be Superman.
Yeah. And I also think with both movies, there's going to be a massive uptick opening weekend of tickets being bought. So like, and that's another reason why I don't like projections. Also, was like, and this is what I was watching like earlier, is that like the girl, she was saying that she was showing the percentage of like back when Avengers and stuff was happening, like 30% of their like tickets came from opening week. You know what I mean? So like, I also expect that the number for both of these files to rise for whether opening weekend.
But that's another part of the problem now, is that because everything's done online and all the tickets are reserved, and with Marvel and Superman and these comic book movies, you get so many passionate fans that go within the first week of release, which makes the numbers very front heavy, meaning your opening weekend better be strong because most of your ticket sales are going to come from that. So if you don't have a really strong box office, like, you might not get legs after. And thank you, by the way, Chigs. We appreciate you.
Facts, bro.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known it was Chigs if you didn't say so. So I appreciate it. We appreciate the donation. Thank you.
Facts. Thank you, Chigs. The only problem with live action remake is when they make unnecessary changes. Yeah, Snow White can't be ugly, bro. Come on. Yeah. Sin number one. Okay. It's Chigs. The reason fans complain about Avatar live action is because they made some changes that changed the essence of some characters, and also made some story decisions that don't make sense according to lore. You know what? I'm going to make a solo video for our cinematics cuts, and we're going to break this down, because I do have an opinion on the Avatar show, because me and my friends have had this combo where I'm at. So we will, Chigs, I got something in the tuck just for you, bro. Trust. But you are definitely not, well, a lot of fans are not alone in that. But I thought they made some really great decisions there. All right, let's get to the next topic here. Thor 5. So, by the way, just want to say this because one of my friends thought that these covers are like confirmed So like, because like I always try to find like the wildest like arts or whatever, the most detailed. And so my friend thought that like one of the arts was an actual confirmed file. So just saying, this isn't a confirmed movie cover, guys. Okay, this is just a cool cover that we like. Okay, so Thor 5 is reportedly in the works at Marvel Studios. The studio wants to release the file as part of the MCU's next saga. And the best news of the day: Taika Waititi will not return to direct. I almost jumped and said hallelujah when I was at work earlier today.
Yeah, they let him do insane things for Love and Thunder. And I was watching like clips of Love and Thunder on social media with no sound the other day, and the movie looks so good. It's crazy.
Bro, the costumes that they have for Thor are the greatest ever, bro. It's like, oh, they fumble so hard.
But I will say, I do think Thor 5 is a great decision. And I'll tell you why. It's because, number one, of course, have one of the OGs of the big three post Secret Wars, 100% that's W. But the big thing is that this could be a really big W for the MCU, and it could be a moment where fans really feel like Marvel is back. Because coming out of Thor Love and Thunder, fans hated that movie, and rightfully so. I think it is the second worst MCU movie of all time. I know you're all going to ask me what's the worst. Someone guess it in the comments. Yes. So let me know what you think. I think is the worst MCU movie of all time, and let me know what you think is the worst MCU movie of all time. But if they do Thor 5 post Secret Wars and the movie is really good, fans are going to be like, yes, Marvel is back. They restored Thor to glory again. This is great. It's so awesome to have Thor back in a movie that was awesome. So I think it could be a really good W because it came out of such a big L from Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
No one guessed? Come on. But I would say, yes, Hungry Almighty got it. The Marvels. There we go. Marvel is the worst by far.
That is the worst one, bro. That is the worst one. It's between that for me and Secret Invasion. Oh my gosh.
I tried a movie, but yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just MCU project. I tried to rewatch it, bro. It was I couldn't even finish it, bro. I think I got like 2 episodes in. I was like, yeah, I can't.
And that should have been a good one. Like Secret Invasion's a really cool concept. They should have done that.
And the guy that they had cast as the main Skrull, he was fire, bro. He was a great actor, man. It was a shame.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so
it did make money. Thor: Love and Thunder did like it was 760 or 7 something. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. So having Thor come back is the right decision. Thor: Love and Thunder definitely scared Marvel Studios because they were like, yeah, they hate him now. And as much as people hated Thor: Love and Thunder, the hate went more towards Taika than Thor himself. That was at least my perspective of it. So I think they should have had Thor still present throughout the multiversal saga. But I think we're in a perfect situation because the Russos are going to restore him to his glory, and then that will give Thor the perfect setup for the next movie. And honestly, like, guys, if the Russos don't do X-Men, which it seems like they're not, let them just do Thor. Because it seems like them and the guy who did Thor 1, those are the only people that can seem to get Thor right at this point.
I thought Dark World was great.
I know didn't the same director do Thor 1 and Dark World 2?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Dark World is very underrated as well. That is a great rewatch as well. Yeah. I actually rewatch that very often. I really do.
By the way, you know what's random, but every time I hear Taika Waititi's name, I think of Nicki Minaj when she said the islands of Waikiki. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Waikiki. Yeah. That's actually a funny song.
It's so fun. She's got a lot of funny songs.
Yeah.
No, it was a different director. The guy's name's Alan Taylor, and the guy who did Thor 1, his name's Kenneth Branagh, like you said.
I'll take either of them, man. Either of them or the Russos.
JMS wrote the story.
Of what?
Yeah, of Thor 1.
J. Michael?
Yeah, Straczynski. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah, bro, he's the fucking man.
I'm rewatching that tonight. I have to rewatch it after this.
Yeah,
That's crazy. JMS.
yeah,
That just made my night. Pause. That just made my night, bro. Wow, that actually makes me very happy. That's crazy.
yeah,
Feige, bro, bring back the comic writers to write the movies, bro. Have Hickman, should Hickman write F4, bro? Come on, man.
yeah.
Or Wade, somebody. Anyways, okay. But this is the right decision. I think fans are going to love it. You have to make it super ambitious though. Thor cannot be this funny guy anymore. He got to be like, we need some seriousness back, bro. I like, come on, man. Like, it's just Thor's been a little too funny for my liking.
Yeah.
And it seems like Taika Waititi, and I keep mentioning this show, but Thor on Superhero Squad, bro, is like so funny because the show's for kids, but the way that Chris Hemsworth acts as Thor, that's how the Superhero Squad Thor acts, but even more stupid. So like, but that's for kids, like
Yeah.
and it seemed like Taika and it really seemed like Taika didn't want to read comics and he just wanted to just make it a comedy
You
file.
know what was so great about the non-Taika Thor was that he wasn't trying to be funny, but like he just his way of life and mannerisms and etiquette was completely out of world and out of place that it was funny. Like when he sat at the cafe and he was like, "This is good," and he's just like, "More," like
No, it just slammed.
and his comedic timing was so good, but he wasn't trying to be funny. And then Taika was like trying to be funny, where it wasn't funny anymore. It just became silly and ridiculous.
Yeah. Do you know who else had that same vibe? Steve in Avengers 1, where like he just didn't understand anything that was going on. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Tony just rolled his eyes like, yeah, this old guy, bro. He don't know nothing.
Yeah, Tony rolled on him, bro.
Yeah, Tony, Avengers 1 is funny. Avengers 1 is really funny. That movie was hilarious. Yeah, bro. And like, yeah. I knew it was weird when I was watching Thor Ragnarok and when they stole the master ship and they were like, this where he has his like orgies. I'm like, bro, kids are watching this file, bro. Like, what are you like? What is going on, bro? All right, let's see what you guys got to say here. Okay. Oh, Tycho. I'm a huge Avatar fan. Okay. All right, Shakes. I'm glad that we are on the same page. Okay, good. Taika would trash is going. Yeah, right. Let's throw a party. Taika absolutely butchered both Thor and Hulk. Ragnarok is so overrated. How do you think he killed the Hulk? I thought the Hulk was actually great in that movie. Now Bruce Banner, he was annoying, but I don't think Hulk was bad in that movie. The Marvels is the worst. That's my guess. Facts. Thor: Love and Thunder made money at the box office 760 million. What? Wow. My worst MCU movie is Wakanda Forever because no T'Challa, no ticket. Hold your money. Did you watch that in theaters? Wakanda Forever. The Marvels is the worst. I can get a laugh by calling it trash. Wakanda Forever generally gets me mad because of no T'Challa. Dang, I'm late. Jalen, what's up, dog? Hey guys. I can't even watch the first Black Panther anymore because I get sad and mad at the same time. Sad because of Chad's death and mad because they didn't recast T'Challa. Facts. My only concern with Marvel Studios going forward is they play it safe and also not try to offend nobody just to make money. Do you think Beta Ray Bill might be in Thor 5 as a secondary character? What is the reason for Beta Ray Bill to show up in Thor 5? That would be the honest question. But I think with Thor, it's going to be something with the reconstruction of Asgard or something like that. That's the way I see it. I think they're going to be Asgard back in space, and it's going to be something with Thor actually becoming a king, actually ruling. Something like that. If the rumors are true about Dave Filoni, yes, we are going to talk about this, guys, in a few. We're going to talk about this soon. Okay. Next topic here. Want to talk about this whole Sadie Sink stuff going on. Now, no one knows who Sadie Sink is playing. But let me pull this up for you guys. Wow, pull up for you guys and read the actual actual thing. So this is coming from the In Snyder on the hot mic, and he says Sadie Sink is rumored to be portraying an alternate version of Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. What did you think about this, bro, when you first heard this?
Did I send this to you?
I'm pretty sure you did.
You know, so wait, so where did this rumor come from? Because I forget sending this.
The Snyder. I'm pretty sure you sent this to me on X. I'm pretty sure you did.
Because I would love this. I mean, I would love to see Gwen Stacy because I think it would be like I would love for them to pull more from the OG retro Spider-Man stuff. You know, the night Gwen Stacy died, was Jerry Conway that wrote it. It came out in the I think early 70s, if I'm correct on it was definitely in the 70s. I just might be wrong on early or late. But yeah, I would like to see Gwen Stacy. I think Gwen Stacy would be a good move if you're going to give him a love interest. I don't think he necessarily needs a love interest right away, but if you are going to give him a love interest, like don't do MJ again because I think that would be a bad move because for a couple of reasons. Number one, you are going to you can't bring Zendaya back into the fold. Like you have to live with the consequences of No Way Home. If you undo the consequences of No Way Home, the consequences in your universe no longer matter. And then your universe doesn't matter because the consequences are irrelevant. Your universe is also irrelevant. And I think that if you're going to make her Sadie Sink, if you were to make Sadie Sink MJ, which again, same thing, because it's just a loophole, but you're doing the same thing. But then you'll also have people who are going to freak out because it's like, oh, you're, taking the role from Zendaya, which I don't really agree with that. I'm just saying you will have a faction of the fandom that's going to come out and freak out over that. I don't really agree, especially because, MJ was always white to begin with, but that's besides the point. I think that, if it's a stupid decision and you're going to piss off a lot of fans, I try to stay consistent on this. And not try to, I do. Like the same way I think they shouldn't do things that are going to piss off conservatives, and then all the people are like, oh, yeah, do it. Like, nah, if you want the movie to succeed, you shouldn't want it to piss off fans, period. So I think it's a dumb idea because I think the consequences need to matter. And I also think that you just piss off fans if you do MJ. So if you really want to bring in a love interest, why not do Gwen Stacy? And I also like the idea of pulling from more retro Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be Spider-Gwen for this to be a good movie too. I feel like everyone thinks that because it's Gwen Stacy that she's going to be Spider-Gwen. Sony is not allowing them to use Spider-Gwen. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't even want her to be Spider-Man. I think that's a stupid idea to begin with.
I agree.
I think it would ruin the movie.
Exactly. Spider-Gwen has her thing going on with Miles Morales, and I like that. Leave that over there. Yeah. And just because Sadie Sink naturally has red hair doesn't mean she's MJ. Like, guys, come on. Like, there's a thing called hair dye. There's a thing called wigs. There's a thing called lace-ons that people use when they're in movies. You know what I mean? That's how this works. She's not going to be MJ. Because, and you guys also have to understand, right? You have to take the famous side into this too. Do you guys know how much money just the likeness of Zendaya and Tom Holland as an engaged couple make them? Let's be honest. Do you know how much, like, Zendaya before Spider-Man was a force, bro, but now she's even more of a force. Tom Holland is also a force. Them together, it's just, it's easy fan love because people love their relationship. That's how Hollywood works. It was the same thing with Andrew Garfield and like Emma Stone. It was the same thing with Toby and Kristen because they were dating. Like, it's a Spider-Man tradition, right? So there's no way she would be MJ. Like, there's no way that they're going that route. They would dye Zendaya's hair red before they would make Sadie Sink MJ. I'm telling you now.
I agree with that.
Yeah, they will 100% do it. So yeah, I like this idea of Sadie Sink being Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy brings out different sides of Peter Parker, and mostly because Gwen Stacy is as smart as him, and some might even argue that she's smarter than him. So Peter, and the one thing that I love is that Gwen, like, with like MJ, you know, it seems like Peter is just different as in when he's with Gwen Stacy, because MJ is kind of the like emotional control for Peter when they are a couple, but with Gwen Stacy, like she is his emotional kind of, but kind of not, because she's kind of like him in a way. And um, kind of and like kind of the thing. Let me just tell you my personal experience, right? Like me and my wife, she's the complete opposite of me, right? Like I am like a gung ho, push the boat forward. My wife is a nurturer. She likes to stay in the same place. She doesn't like going out as much. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I like. I feel like with Gwen Stacy and Peter, they're more alike, and him and MJ, they're more of the opposite. Which is why MJ is the perfect one for him. But when he's with Gwen Stacy, you get another side of Peter. So I hope that we get to see that change that that Peter has with Gwen Stacy to differentiate those two. And an actress like Sadie Sink, I think that a lot of fans are going to gravitate to her if she is Gwen Stacy, because a lot of people forget Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy was a really big thing, bro. It really was at the
Yeah,
time.
I remember it was true, and it's true. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, Gwen Stacy is more like the intelligent, kind, emotionally mature, and MJ is more of the confident, outgoing, flirty kind of girl. But I think that, like, I don't think they really touched on that at all with Zendaya. They actually made her completely different than what MJ was like in the comics. They made her this like nerdy, geeky girl, and she wasn't like, she was MJ by name, but she wasn't really MJ from the comics, which I never really cared much about. But I would like to see them. I think it would be cool if they brought in Gwen Stacy and they kept her to be that kind of personality where, obviously she's not going to be Peter's, first real, like, true love relationship anymore. But where, she's kind of like soft with him, and, you kind of get that throwback vibe of a relationship from, what it was like when they were together. I think that'd be cool. You're on mute.
Why does my mic keep doing that? Sorry, my mic keeps like automatically muting when I'm talking.
Damn.
I gotta change that. All right, you guys were chatting it up, so let's answer some of these chats. Okay. As we said that, we talked about that already. If the rumor, we said that. Okay, I'm not surprised they managed to keep her role such a secret, and of course, take scoops with a grain of salt. Of course, bro, always. Ragnarok Hawk felt like a goofy kid throwing a temper tantrum, while the 2009-2015 Hawk felt like a bad A savage rage animal. Hunger Almighty, you're the one that likes the animated Avengers, right? Just wanted to ask that, because there's a two of them, but I think one's Earth's Mighty's Heroes, and then there's another Avengers. I forget the name of it, but in one of them, the Hawk does act like he does act the way he does in Ragnarok, and I actually don't mind it. Um, I I don't mind when the Hawk acts like a rage baby, but he has to get serious when he does, and in Ragnarok, I feel like he did. Disney isn't okay. Just retcon Zendaya to Mary Jane and have her with red hair. Easy fix. Facts. Bring Harry Osborn, and now it will be an accurate Spider-Man cast. Facts. And we can't forget. Oh my gosh, here we go, bro. You and Uncle Ben, bro. Yeah, bro. If they just say Uncle Ben, I'll be fine. Screw consequence. I want my boy Peter happy again. MJ and Peter forever. Oh my gosh. And look, it could possibly come together after Secret Wars. You never know. Hot take. I was never the biggest fan of Miles and Gwen. I always thought it was so dumb. Why do you think it's so dumb for him and Gwen to like possibly be a multiversal across universe lovers?
Yeah, I think it adds a depth to that storyline, and I just think it gives. I think it's given Miles so many reasons to push himself forward. He wants to impress her and all that. I think that's how he kind of got involved in a lot of the things that push the story forward.
I agree, and it also, and like without Gwen, and with his dad still being alive, it's hard to compare Miles to the other Spider-Mans. And like I understand that like a part of the movie is that Miles is different than all of them, like to an extent. But like him having this ongoing love interest that he would darn near do anything for, it kind of, for me, when I watch it, it connects him to all of the other Spider-Mans in some way.
It's a fair point.
I'm with Jalen. Screw the comic. Screw the. Oh my, guys, look. As I said, you never know what can happen after Secret Wars and after all these events. You know they're definitely going to bring them back, just not in this file. Like we need at least one movie where Peter's like struggling, bro. Like I want to see it, man. I want to see it. Okay. Now, next thing, we are talking about the DCU / Fortnite collab. Okay, so I'm a big Fortnite fan. I've played this new season, and yes, I paid the 2,800 V-Bucks to get the Superman skin and the Robin skin. So I thought that this was super cool, mostly because of the fact that I didn't know that James Gunn has to green light all of the DC skins for them to even go into it. And I was reading, I think it was an article from Gamer Radar, and they were saying that these two costumes are the start of like the rebrand of DC. So I wanted to ask you about, like, just first off, do you think these skins are dope? And just the fact that that DC is like, or DC Studios once again is just having their fingerprint on everything. Just
Yeah,
wanted to ask you about that.
I think it's smart because obviously a lot of kids play Fortnite. They're going to see Superman. They're going to be more aware of the Superman file coming out. Is it true that the skins aren't releasing until the movie releases?
No, I already have it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I thought someone said that it's
So
releasing on the day of release.
so basically they had this thing where you can buy it early.
Oh, but it releases for free for everyone.
Yeah.
That was smart because then people are going to have it. People are going to see it, but it's going to be somewhat exclusive because you have to pay for it. And then everyone's going to have it on July 11th. And kids are going to be like, oh, I want to see Superman. I want to see Superman. Genius. Going to help box office. I mean, and this is one of the many reasons Superman's got a leg up on Fantastic Four, because if you did a Fantastic Four Fortnite skin, it's not going to be as big as, man, it's Superman. Look at him. He's Superman. Everyone knows Superman immediately. You put Reed Richards there or the Human Torch, people see the Human Torch on fire and they may not even know it's like a Marvel thing,
Human Torch, I feel like Human Torch and the Thing would sell if you had Torch on fire and like the Thing. Now, and Sue Storm might, if you make her like invisible, because there's a lot of girls that play Fortnite. Like a lot of girls. Like my wife she's on Fort and she's in this like Discord chat with thousands of females and y'all like play together. Super weird. Don't even ask me. I think it's weird. But anyways, like now I want to ask you about this Robin skin. So isn't it odd that he went with Tim Drake?
Why?
So I was just when I first heard that Robin was going to be in the new season, I was expecting either Damian, Dick, or Jason Todd, because those are the active Robins that we have, because we're getting the dynamic duo file and then we're getting the Batman Brave and the Bold file. So I was like, I thought, and honestly, the only reason why I wanted Damian was for the hood. Like I wanted the Robin cape that had the hood, and I just yeah.
I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like they put Tim Drake front and center a lot. Like I feel like I've seen a lot of Tim Drake recently, and I wish I could tell you where else, but I'm not that surprised it was Tim Drake. It's just, I get it. It's odd they didn't use Damian or Dick Grayson or Jason Todd because the movie's coming out. But those movies also aren't coming out anytime soon. And they could also release that Robin when those movies come out.
Exactly. 1 second. I just had to AI something because Jalen said something, so I just had to make sure. Okay. He said Tim Drake, the leader of the Titans movie, confirmed. And now I have to research that because I'm not sure if that's true or not. Tim Drake. Hey Jerry, could you answer some of those chats while I just research that just to see if it's true or not?
Yeah, scroll up.
Has Tim Drake the Robin? DCU Titans.
I'm surprised that DC Fortnite with Tim Drake, Robin. That was hungry. Jalen, Tim Drake is the leader of the Titans movie, confirmed. Hungry Almighty, take this with a grain of salt, but Jeff Snyder said that Teen Titans is casting this fall. It's a good sign because if they're casting this fall, that means the movie's not that far out compared to others.
Oh yeah. Okay, so it says this. It says there's no official announcement from DC Studios or James Gunn about Tim Drake being in the live action Teen Titans file. Says fans are divided. Some want Tim, others want Dick or Damien. Many sources note that Tim isn't part of the confirmed Gods and Monsters slate yet, and a lot of people are just saying that. And what this says based off of EW.com, they said that Damien is probably going to be the Robin because that's James Gunn's favorite Robin of all time.
Okay, yeah, I like Damien too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I always figured Dick Grayson is probably the favorite, the most people's favorite. But yeah, I always like Damien. All right, so you want to take the rest of the comments?
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, not shipping Tim. Yeah, bro. And that's the thing. You bring in Starfire, at least give us a Nightwing skin. Come on, dog. Drawing. Okay. Oh. Take this with a grain of salt, but Jeff Snyder said that the Teen Titan. Oh, you said that already. Yeah. But yeah, Caston's fall be crazy, bro. What? They're moving fast, bro. If they do that and we don't have a Batman Brave and Bold announcement, I'll be pissed.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, I'll be kind of upset about that. I ain't gonna hold you. We need that. Yo, James Gunn, if you hear us, man, Comic-Con, just do it, bro. Marvel's not doing anything big, anyways, bro. You might as well. And if Superman is killing in box office, bro.
So here's the thing: if Superman has Batman in it and there's a cameo, there will be an announcement made on release weekend. If Batman's not in the movie at all, they're not going to announce it until like 3 months after release day, at least, because what they wouldn't do is while Superman's in theaters, they're not going to announce the Batman casting because it would detract the attention from the Superman movie, because then people would talk about Batman more and Superman less. And I'm not saying they would talk about Batman more than Superman, but they would talk about Superman a little less and they would talk about Batman a little more, and they wouldn't want to do that because they want to crush box office.
Let's see, when is San Diego Comic-Con 2025? It is July 24th through the 27th. Yeah, so that means that it's technically still going to be in this theatrical run. Yeah, fair point. Very fair point. Okay, now let's get to the next rumored team for Avengers Doomsday. Okay, so these are not all the characters, but just some of the characters that we are going to see. Right now, we have Thor, we have Black Widow. Yes, that's what I'm going to call her now. We have Captain America. We have Shang-Chi, right, bro?
Shang.
Sure.
I think you got it right. I was just
right this time. Okay, so I always get it wrong every time. Okay, all right, we're good. Yes, Shang-Chi. Because I was really rehearsing earlier. I was like Shang-Chi.
That's
Okay,
so
Shang-Chi.
funny. Oh, I feel bad now.
Nah, bro. I got to pay honor, bro.
Yeah.
Sentry, Namor. By the way, that freaking chair is insane. Or the mask, whatever he's wearing. Ant-Man. Oh crap. Fake Black Panther. Captain Marvel, Bucky, the Hulk, and M'Baku. So how do you feel about this Avengers team right now?
It's all right. Like, it's got some good players on it, but I'm trying to see. I don't like fake Black Panther. Wait, is that Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
She is confirmed.
So this is the rumored team.
Okay.
So yeah.
So right. I like Shang-Chi. I like Thor. I like Sam. I like Yelena. I like Ant-Man. I like Bucky. But like I don't know. It doesn't have like it should. I like the characters, but it's not like the Avengers roster that we had pre-Endgame at
Yeah.
all.
No Spider-Man is crazy, bro. I will
And
forever say that, bro. No
yeah,
Spider-Man is crazy. And I would have just threw the Fantastic Four on this team for the whole bottom. just be like the top is pretty strong, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The top half is strong. Thor, Yelena, Cap, Shang-Chi, Sentry, and
maybe
then the more pretty strong top.
or aren't really included because they're going to be there and working with them, but they're not really Avengers.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because I do think that Reed is gonna have a really big sizable role in this file. Um, like he has to.
It would be the dumbest that like if they didn't give Reed a big role in this file, that would be insane. But at the same time, Josh from Denim Nerds keeps saying on all his videos that a lot of it's centered around the Fox X-Men.
Yeah, because interesting. Because Pedro's there filming now, and I was watching or I saw a tweet where the guy who plays Falcon was talking about Pedro. He was saying how like something to the degree like Pedro's commanding presence on stage, or not on stage, but on the set, which made me thought that maybe he's getting a lot more play, in this file. So we will have to see. We'll have to see what happens. And like the Russos, they like and I'm gonna say this. I think the Russos like command, like they like their male characters to be very commanding, like the important ones. So I can see a situation where Reed is like the guy to do a lot of the talking in this file.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I feel like Reed can be a good negotiator, and he's smart and composed enough. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, facts. Okay. Let's read some comments. But yeah, I didn't even get my opinion. Hold on. Yeah, so as I said, I think the top is great. Obviously Ant-Man has to be on there. He's an OG. Fake Black Widow, we don't like that. Captain Marvel. I mean, look, the Russos don't like her anyway, so if she was to be on there, we're not even going to see her. I would rather do Photon, to be honest, instead of her. I think Photon is better. Or
I just based on her social media recently, it seems like she is going crazy and crashing out. And I think Brie Larson. And I think that has to do with her probably being really upset that she is no longer a part of the MCU.
Yep. Dude, I would even take Amon over her. I would take Miss Marvel on this team at this point over her. That's
I think we should have Miss Marvel anyway. Miss Marvel's great.
I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, like, it's sad because we have this Super Scroll character. She's nowhere to be found. She'd be perfect on this roster because her power level is insanity. You know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, Bucky obviously. By the way, Bucky's Avengers costume is a chef's kiss right now. He needs to keep that throughout the whole file. That suit is just.
It's so good.
Yes. The Hulk. Just give me Angry Hulk and I won't complain. And I like M'Baku on this team. I really do. If there's no T'Challa, but there is the rumor that T'Challa's going to pop up in all these other characters. So, but they're not obviously not going to be a part of the team.
With it, like the inclusion of M'Baku, I feel like is a sign that they don't have enough star power on it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if they actually had a legit team, M'Baku wouldn't be on it to begin with.
You're right. He would have just been on one of the Earth teams helping make Mayhem calm down.
Yes.
Hold on, bro. 1 second. I gotta go on mute. 1 second. Something's. There's an alarm going off, bro.
Okay.
Can you read the chats?
If Teen Titans is before Brave and the Bold, then it's possible that they can make Tim the Robin of Teen Titans and then Brave and Bold. Yeah, and then we can have a legit Bat family. I meant it as a question. Sorry, Jalen. Hungry Almighty. I think the reason could potentially be before Brave and the Bold because of the Matt Reeves Batman. Hopefully we get the Matt Reeves Batman before the Brave and the Bold. I mean, in a perfect world, that would be the situation. But, I think that it might get tricky because they aren't going to want to release both Batman files in the same year. So, we don't have a casting or any news on Brave and the Bold, but once they get that casting, they're probably going to try to move quickly, and they're only just about to start filming for the Batman. So I do think the Batman is going to come first, which really sucks in the grand scheme of things because the Batman being delayed so much, it's going to come first, but it might delay Brave and the Bold. And if it delays Brave and the Bold, now you're impacting the DCU, and that's a problem because the DCU needs Batman to move along in the beginning with the DCU. I hope that makes sense because there's a couple moving parts. Hungry on Mighty wrote that wrong. Wish I read this before, but I meant Teen Titans before Brave and the Bold because, So, all right, so that's fine. We were up to this one, Jalen Harris, I think, doing announcements at Comic Con.
Bet.
Everything good?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we're good, bro. Yeah, bro. The freaking shower, there was fog coming from the shower and it made the smoke alarm go off. I'm over there thinking it was on fire. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Stupid architects. All right. I think doing announcements in Comic Con is a slippery slope for James because we don't know how fans will react to DC right now. If Superman succeeds is a good first step. I also think like you have I mean, this is all I'm saying. If you already have your Batman cast and Superman is killing in box office, you want to build more compound on top of that. And I think if you have David Corso come out with Batman, I think that would be insane. And Baku with the Avengers, I know, bro, it's crazy. And I can't believe I just caped for it. Just shoot me later. I'll say it again. A movie called Avengers Doomsday, but more focus will be on the Fox X-Men. Not a good sign.
So it wasn't that more focus is going to be on the Fox X-Men. I just meant all focus is going to be on the Fox X-Men.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. If they focused more on the Fox X-Men than the Avengers, I would say that's, you know what? Now that I think about it, regardless, they're using Avengers for the title. Okay, so they want to sell tickets that say Avengers because that's going to make them money. But maybe they are going to divide up the focus because look at the roster.
Yeah.
But that's where I think the Fantastic Four needs to come in.
And that's what I was about to say. You have the F4, and I really think Reed is going to take up a lot of that screen time, and I think he's going to represent the Avengers. That's at least how I see it. And it would be better if you had Reed and T'Challa because in the comics they're just as smart as each other, which is it hurts my soul, bro. But if we do get T'Challa like a variant, it will be fun to see him and Reed kind of riff off each other. Green Lantern or Flash getting a movie in 2027 is the only way you can justify the Brave and Bold. Bro, that would be crazy to pull something off like that. I don't see that happening. Unless the Green Lantern just like gets insane, like Game of Thrones level views. I don't see that happening. Okay, now we have 2 more topics and we're out of here. Okay, wanted to talk to you, bro, about what Matt Shackman said because I was looking at some of the comments under this and it seemed like fans were confused on why Shackman used that comparison. So Matt Shackman said that Fantastic Four First Steps is inspired by Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. So I wanted to see if like you saw where that comparison would come from.
Well, there are so many different facets of a movie that it's hard to hear or read something like that and know what he exactly means from it. Like, what is the inspiration he's taking from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man? What I hope it is taking the inspiration. Like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man did a really good job of taking inspiration from the most classic and iconic Spider-Man comics and like really just doing it just felt like, you watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and you could say it feels like a comic book visually, but the story, the magic of it really did feel like so true to a Spider-Man comic book run. So I hope that's what I meant. I hope that they take inspiration from the iconic and the classic Fantastic Four, where when we watch this movie, it just feels so true to comic accurate legacy of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. So let me give some context. I totally forgot about the article. So the producer Grant Curtis, this is what he said. So he's working on the Fantastic Four. He also worked with Sam Raimi on his first Spider-Man 3 file as well. And so he told Collider that Matt Shackman is following the same path that Sam did. So he said one of the beauties of that and that I see in Matt Shackman is Sam always went back to the source and said there's a reason why Peter Parker and Spider-Man have been popular for so long, and we have nothing to do with that 50 plus years at that time. He said, and Matt always looked at it the same exact way. There's a reason this IP has been popular for over 60 years. Let's embrace it and let's not run from that. Let's challenge our screenwriters to tell the coolest Galactus story. And then basically they go into talking about Jack and how he's a legend, Kirby and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's not pretty much what I'm talking about. Like Spider-Man, Sam Raimi did a really good job of pulling, a lot of things from the iconic and classic Spider-Man comics, and I want to see Fantastic Four do that too. And it does feel like they are going to do that. When they talked about going into space before Ben was a rock, Silver Surfer warning them of Galactus. So a lot of it does feel like very Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but I know they're also pulling from Hickman and Wade too, which is really important.
Yeah, exactly. And then he said one last thing about Feige and Shackman. He said, pull this up. He said one of the beautiful things about working with Feige and Shackman, they are totally in on sci-fi. I know that it's not a shock, but just to see them talk about all things sci-fi and really embracing that look and Galactus and one of the original and Galactus being one of the original bad guys in Marvel. So, I mean, I am really happy that they are leaning into the into the sci-fi side and that we are going back into space. It feels like Marvel Studios has gone away from the cosmic a little bit. So, like obviously we're getting a multiverse story, but I am hyped that we get to go to space and see some planets get cooked and stuff like that.
Me too.
This is gonna be a fun watch, bro.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm so hyped for this movie. Like, I don't think I've been this hyped for a movie in a long time. And the sci-fi cosmic aspect to it, like I'm right there with you, man.
Oh yeah, bro. Let me fire. All right, now, guys, our last topic of the night, Mr. Dave Filoni. Okay, so let's talk some Star Wars, some Lucasfilm, and I really want to ask you this because I think you judge character very well. So, okay, Dave Filoni is reportedly a top candidate to co-run Star Wars after Kathleen Kennedy leaves. Currently thinking he will co-head Lucasfilm with executive Carrie Beck. Some worry he's too steeped in Star Wars lore and basically that risking the brand or they think he will risk the brand and lose the broader audiences. And they said one Disney insider says he's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy. So first question is obviously, do you think Dave could do a co-head kind of like what James Gunn and Saf friends doing? By the way, we had to take a quick W because you and I both said that Peter that Safran and James Gunn, they were going to start a trend where a lot of other entertainment studios were going to do that, and we were like the first guy to say that. By the way, just saying. And then secondly, 100%. And then second thing, bro. What kind of leader do you think that Star Wars needs, like going into this new future with Ryan Gosling and all of that jazz?
I think they need a leader that is willing to make projects like Andor and still do things that are new and different. Like, I think Star Wars needs two things. I think Star Wars needs more of things like Andor and Mandalorian, where they are new stories, new characters, completely new concepts that are different to what we're used to from Star Wars and expand on the vast universe. But they also need to, and let's call that category number two. But category number one, and this is very nuanced, because Star Wars needs to continue to sell what they've been selling in the Star Wars episodes 1 to 9, but they have to make new characters. They can't continue with Skywalkers or any of these adjacent characters. They have to do something completely new, and it has to be Jedi based. Maybe not necessarily Sith, but something like Sith. And I think they need to do like episode 10 and have us meet a completely new Jedi. And it can be a different, time period. It doesn't have to be the same time, whatever. But I think they need to, do new characters with Jedi, and they also need to continue to do things like Andor and Mandalorian. And from my understanding, I don't think Dave Filoni, is so interested in doing things like the Mandalorian and Andor type shows. I think he's more interested in like Ahsoka, but that's fine if he's got someone else that's willing to do those shows and he could focus on the bigger movies.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Dave Filoni can be the seatbelt that Star Wars needs, and the seatbelt is the lore. George Lucas is Star Wars. He studied under him. A lot of people have respect for him, and for some reason they're trying to put like the Andors against the Ahsokas when we need them all to work. Like the way that I say it is the movies need to be a generalized Star Wars lore type of file. You know what I mean? Where we get the best of both worlds. We get some Andor type style, we get some Jedi type style. You don't go super deep in either. And then, Andor proved that you can have a show with like no Jedi, no lightsabers, no force, and it can still do crazy on views. So you get another show like that going. Could be like a Mando Andor type of situation. And then you have your like Ahsoka, where for the fans that want to dig deeper, you have that show where it doesn't cost you a lot to make, and you can make a show where fans like me, I like the deep cuts. You as well. You are also a deep cut guy too. Like those are shows that we enjoy. So I think that you can make all three of those things work and be successful. But you are right though. For this next trilogy that they're doing, you have to decide what you want to do. Because I do think the Dawn of the Jedi could really revamp Star Wars in a really big way. And if the Dawn of the Jedi does $1 billion, you might want your next 3 movies to be about the Dawn of the Jedi leading into the High Republic, which is the beginning of like Acolyte. Because and this is why I hate Acolyte, because the High Republic is supposed to be the time where the Jedi were the strongest. So that's also sad. But like, I think the Dawn of the Jedi has the chance to be like the time period that you go through. So it's all in the air about what they're going to do, man. But yeah, like I love the Ryan Gosling file, and I think the Ryan Gosling Star Wars file is going to be good. But my fear is that it might be a one-off. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they're committed to building, but with a mangled Dawn of the Jedi movie, you can do 3 of them Jones.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like and by the way, like the crazy thing is that in the Dawn of the Jedi, their lightsabers were actually swords.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's awesome, bro. Yeah, and they were called Jedi. That's what their name before.
By the way, and if they did it and it works, they could also do the beginning of the Sith.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because they both happen at the same exact time. Yeah, bro, it would be crazy. And it's an all-out war, bro, between both Jedi and Sith, bro. All-out war.
Sick.
Yes, bro. And that could be like the way to go, you know what I mean? And you would cast a guy like, when you cast a guy like someone that could, like Keanu Reeves would thrive in a story like that. Like those are the kind of guys that people that know how to sword fight and that are into stuff like that. So you could, or just cast an unknown actor. Like you could do a lot. So I hope that they figure something out. But I think from a lore standpoint, Dave Filoni is the guy you need, because like his mind is just like, and this is what people have to understand about Dave. He expanded the Star Wars lore in TV show form. Like Star Wars Rebels, as much people don't watch it, that show is so important to Star Wars lore. And without the world between worlds, we would not. There would be no reason to bring Anakin back. No reason.
Yeah.
So
and that's the best character you got.
yeah, exactly. So, all right, we're gonna read a couple more chats, and then we're gonna get out of here. Did you read this one? Oh no, he just sent this 1042. I do have to ask, but if Gunn already has his Batman casted, do you think a May to July summer release is possible? And GBA, what was that? GBA, that's something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, and GBA delay the Batman 2 to March 2028, aka 5 years from the first reboot. I think they want to get Matt Reeves' Batman movie out as fast as possible. That's at least my thought, because that movie has the sauce already, and fans are wanting that. So I will put that out first, and then you give me Brave and the Bold. May to July of 2027, summer 2027. Yeah, yeah. It see, the thing with Brave and the Bold, it just all depends on when the Batman cast is announced. Because
once they get the actor, they can move. But until that, I feel like all the pieces will fall in place then.
Exactly. And the fact that they're doing Titans, they're working toward it. Do a time skip many years after episode 9 with new characters and make it to where if you're a new viewer, you can watch a new Star Wars movie without any previous movies. Yes. And if Star Wars cannot figure out anything, just remake them all. Remake them all. Just remake the first 6. I'm telling you, just do it. Trust. Because that might be all you got. Hypothetically speaking, let's say Green Lantern doesn't get a movie in the 8 to 10 year plan of the DCU. How do you feel about them doing 3 seasons of Lanterns Out? So my thought is this, right? So just to make sure that we're all on the same page, James Gunn right now has a 6-year plan. Okay, I do believe a Green Lantern movie is in that 6-year plan. I 100%. Yeah, I 100%. And if not, I wouldn't be shocked if Green Lantern movie, a Green Lantern movie, is the movie that starts the next season of superheroes. Because I'm telling you, you don't cast somebody like Aaron Pierre for just like a 6-year plan.
Yeah,
he's the future.
Also, you could do so much more with Green Lantern in a movie than you can on a TV show.
Bro, what? You could do whatever you want.
Literally
whatever you want. So, Mario, we're going to end it here, man. We hope you guys have fun. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you know when we post clips going out daily.
And don't forget to subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button.
Facts. So we hope you all have a great night, y'all, and peace out.
Peace.